The City of Tshwane is without an executive mayor, and the multi-party coalition is disputing the election of council speaker. On Wednesday, a special council sitting to elect the mayor was adjourned to consult lawyers on a co-councillor's credentials. With all this administration drama, the Metro is yet to pass an adjustment budget, leading to failure to provide the most basic services to residents of the capital. To take this conversation further, we're joined by Tshwane EFF Chief Whip, Godwin Ratikwane. Godwin, a pleasure to have you on the program, despite the circumstances in the City of Tshwane. I want to begin by looking at remarks made by the council speaker, that's Newzroom, who basically rejected claims that he failed to honor a sitting of council this week, saying that he only scheduled a meeting for next week on the 28th of March. Firstly, the big question on everybody's lips is, why is it taking so long to even elect a new mayor for the city?
Yeah. No, thank you very much for having me. The fact of the matter is that the DA has been the cause of the problems in the City of Tshwane. If you remember very well, the DA is the one that has been working out of council in the numerous times, and they've also made sure that on other occasions they don't attend council so that there is no quorum. Now that the DA thinks that the house is in order, they want to now rush the processes. So the speaker is within his right to basically make sure that he follows through the processes. So there was a dispute in relation to the councillor of Cope, which would have went either way, whether he's allowed to vote or not allowed to vote. So we need to allow the speaker to take his time, get legal opinion, also make sure that the people who are voting in these coming elections are legitimate people to vote, so that we don't go to court and we get to lose the cases in court.
Now, yourselves, along with the ANC and Action SA, have also blamed the DA for really bringing the city to its knees with poor financial management, including these allegations that 10 billion rand, which cannot be accounted for under the previous administration. Talk us through this aspect of the matter and the extent of the problems that are really plaguing the city here.
This is a serious problem in our view, and the DA is not taking any accountability whatsoever in relation to this particular issue of the 10 billion. If you remember the damning Auditor General report, the DA has said nothing about it. He's not doing anything about it. Nobody's being held accountable. If you check the mayor, the previous mayor, Randall William, that was removed from council by form of resignation and the pressure that the EFF applied in council. We are sitting here with the benefits of what the EFF has basically pushed through and make sure that the people of Tshwane get some form of accountability. But that's not enough, because if you check these issues, they can't just fire the CFO and fire the mayor in a form of a resignation because he was pushed to resign. But of course, with the pressure from the EFF as part of it and the Auditor General report. But we need to go back and say to the people of Tshwane that we want to put their interest at heart, and by putting their interest at heart, the DA must go back and reflect and say, we take some form of accountability as the DA. Maybe we are not ready to run the City of Tshwane yet. Can we give it to somebody else to run? Because none of us have won the election with a majority. So we need to now look at this and say, but our tenure has come with this particular result. Does it mean that we are ready to run the city? And if we are not ready, like the Auditor General report has already confirmed that we are not ready as the DA, then let us at least step away and let's get another party to try, and maybe they will get it right. Because we believe as the EFF that you cannot be the cause of the problem and also be the solution of the very same problem. We caught Randall stealing well over 26 billion in terms of the 2 power stations that he wanted to take on unsolicited bid in the City of Tshwane. And the EFF found his hand in the cookie jar. We slapped that hand. We said to him that we don't want to see this ever again, and we want you to resign. And that was the message of the EFF. So when the Auditor General report came, we were like, no, there's been a problem here, and it doesn't start only here, or didn't only occur in one instance where we found his hand in the cookie jar.
But whoever is elected next week will become literally the third Tshwane executive mayor in recent years. And it really creates a problematic situation, especially when it comes to issues around service delivery. And it's also a concern which was recently raised by the most famous citizen of the capital city, that is President Cyril Ramaphosa, raising concern that with this debacle playing out, literally the biggest sufferers are the people of Tshwane. Do you share the same sentiment here?
I definitely don't share the sentiment that Cyril is the most famous citizen of Tshwane. I think that man has failed in his own right. So the fact of the matter is that it is a concern to have a situation whereby we chop and change mayors. But the fact again is that we cannot sit with a mayor that has already failed and has plunged that into this kind of a problem in terms of the unsolicited bid, and then followed by the Auditor General issue. So we need to do what we need to do to make sure that we fix the problem. The problem here is that the DA has some form of resistance. You have councillors in the DA and Action SA who are saying we are not confident that the DA can take this thing forward. That's why they voted with the opposition. It's not because those people just woke up one day and decided to vote otherwise. They put their salaries, by the way, at risk. They put their families at risk because they know that they are also convinced that the DA and Action SA cannot take us forward in the City of Tshwane, because they have been trying to raise these issues internally in the DA, internally in Action SA, and it never materialized anywhere, and the issues were not resolved. So these people were saying that we want to try a new political party, and they were seeing superior logic, by the way, in this particular instance. So the DA must take accountability, and that accountability starts with them staying away from government for some time to reflect on their bad performance, then coming back later on if they are still a formidable force going forward.
Fast forward to next week when the election does hopefully take place. The DA has already said that their candidate will be Celia's Brink, while that pact or the coalition that apparently is being led by the ANC will be putting up the name of Mulanto Tshabadi from the PAC. Speak to us about what stance the EFF will be taking regarding their candidate. Are you putting forward your own candidate or backing the ANC again?
We're not backing any candidate. The nomination will happen from the floor. When we are in council, we don't necessarily become party A,
Are you at
party
liberty
B.
to give a name, right?
Not necessarily. So the pronouncements will come from the floor, but we are also cognizant that the DA cannot take us forward. You cannot import the mayor from Cape Town and say, come and run Tshwane for you. This guy has got no clue what is happening in Tshwane. And we must now accept that, no, we have a senior coming from Cape Town who's going to come to run the City of Tshwane. That's not going to happen under our watch. We believe that Silas Brink is a captain of DA and will sink the ship of Tshwane, by the way, if he becomes the captain of Tshwane. Because you have seen him. That advice of the 79 votes, numbering of the votes, was coming from Silas Brink. We are surprised that they say this guy is a qualified lawyer and all that. But this guy does not seem to know even the basis. He wants this power by all means necessary. And that's exactly what he's going to do to the City of Tshwane. The first time he addressed the media, he was already selling the city's assets without even doing any form of evaluation as a mayor. And you can see that we are heading for trouble, because you are bringing somebody who's a hot-headed councillor or whatever you want to call him, and you want him to be in charge of the capital city of South Africa. Just like that, it's not going to happen under our watch. That guy has proven himself that is irrational. He cannot work with us. As the EFF, we want to build state capacity. And by that man coming already telling us that he's going to sell the assets of the city, such as the airports, vulnerable airports, and certain pieces of land, certain properties, already as the EFF, that is going against our policies and our manifesto as the EFF. We're not going to allow that.
That was Godwin Ratikwane. He's the City of Tshwane EFF Chief Whip, and of course giving us their stance on this particular matter. Well, hopefully by next week, on the 28th of March, Tshwane will indeed have a new mayor who brings